There you go. So I've been monkeying around with my studio setup. This is not my studio, it's just my basement. And I've made it quite known that I'm an amateur. I'm just coming online and saying what I think. And hopefully this will engage people and want to check out my book series, The UrbanKnights. It's just a series of novels in the thriller space and featuring Jordan Noble, a former agent of the Defense Intelligence Agency. He returns home to Detroit to fight crime. And there's several books in the series. You can jump at any place, but they do kind of build off each other. In addition, there's also the collective, which I wrote with four other African American authors, and we all brought our different characters in and wrote short stories. I think they're all good. I think that, you would do well to read them. I think you would enjoy them, including the collective, but more pointedly, my series, deep in the thriller space. This is not street lit or any kind of like, stick it to the man kind of thing. Whatever it is about you feel about those things. These are no kidding action movies that will stand side by side with, Reacher and, Jack Ryan, James Bond. What I really want to check out the links to see, to get my books. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. And I kind of tilted my camera and because I had a picture and I still have it up there of a Buffalo Soldier. I have several Buffalo Soldier pictures in my little workspace here. And it was a reflection was showing on it. So I tried to change it around and it didn't look right, So I just tilted it so you can just barely see it. And I tilted it so that now another display is visible as Captain America. And I thought this was worth discussing. Captain America is my favorite superhero. You can see Batman, and you can barely see where I'm Space Knight. Other characters I really enjoyed over the years. I'm a longtime comic fan. I'm in and out now, but when I was a kid, Captain America was definitely my favorite superhero. So my history with Captain America is, I think the first introduction to him was the Marvel superheroes cartoons that came on. They were made in the late 60s, early 70s. And they were this thing of, they were basically cartoon stills with very limited animation. And you've probably seen it before. I know you've heard the song for Captain America. I mean, it's fairly well known. It's into the zeitgeist, and people speak of Captain America, those nice show. And one of the first ones I saw featuring Captain America was a retelling of the story, and I'm not going to remember the name of it. It's been decades, but The Sleeper Awakes. And at this point in Captain America's history, he had been relatively recently retrieved from the ice. The Avengers #4 is the issue when Captain America joins the Avengers. He's been pulled from the ice, and it explains where he's been since World War II. There's a whole bunch of history about Captain America, both fictional and real, that I could go into another time. But Captain America it's the late 60s, early 70s, and he is a man out of time. They had not brought back the Red Skull yet. He had appeared in some flashback episodes, but at this point, Captain America is living in Avengers Mansion, and he's troubled by his past, and what happened to Bucky Barnes, his friends. And at this point, Bucky Barnes is one of the few people that stayed dead, but Marvel took care of that. Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, a person clicks a dial on a statue, and this giant robot appears. And for whatever reason, Captain America could get a hold of the rest of the Avengers, so he goes off to investigate on his own. And Captain America is clearly outmatched. This giant robot shooting energy beams and blowing up stuff. And his tactic is to hold off this creature until the army arrives. And I assume he's referring to the American army. As it goes on, other robots emerge. There's a flying robot that, it flies so fast, it causes these hurricane-like winds, and is knocking over things. And Captain America is just outmatched. He's just this guy with his shield. And at this point, a lot of what the Super Soldier Servant had done for Captain America hadn't been really, solidified. So he was just a guy. The last robot is a giant skull of the Red Skull. It was like, oh, the Red Skull did this, and this is his last plan at the end of World War II to get revenge if he ever lost, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Captain America figures out how to defeat these robots. In true Captain America fashion, he makes some speech about liberty and justice, the fighting spirit of one man. Cue the music and the thing is over. And, for me, then and now, that was the essence of heroism. That this guy was outmatched. I mean, there was no way he could win, and he just stayed in the fight. and he found a way to. And that was really Captain America's go-to for a long time. Then he went to the 70s, and there was this period of, after Watergate, Ashley Paris. And, there was this time of, is it cool to be patriotic? And he kind of redefined himself in the late 70s, early 80s, where there was this thing of he is American despite all these things his country did. And then Reagan became president, and it was cool to be patriotic again. So Captain America, he became this indomitable force. He was written most prominently by John Byrne, and Byrne had this tendency of getting to the root of the hero, what it is that made him great. Brought up a lot of his past. There's a few issues where he had his old triangular shield. I mean, that was Byrne's thing, but it was this whole thing that, Captain America was, a force to be reckoned with, and he will never surrender. And his greatest power was his shield, not his shield. I'm sorry, his iron will and this fight for liberty and everything. And he became this character that was not America, but what America should be or what America could be. And he is, no, I'm not going to say that, but he is this guy who was very much like, I'm fighting for the ideals. And he has, in many occasions, when people was trying to force him to work directly for the government, said things to the effect of, the only thing I'm loyal to is the dream. And he means the American dream. And that's his deal. I mean, he cooperates the government. He has his long history with SHIELD and Nick Fury. He's even met presidents, but he's always his own guy. And famously in the late 80s, the government told him that you have to work for us. Some government agency created the very idea of Captain America. That shield you carry is probably government property. You need to work for us. And Steve Rogers said, Captain America Civil Identity, that, nope, here you go. Take your shield and your costume. That's not how Captain America works. And that was a defining Captain America moment. And that storyline is just incredible. But yeah, he struck me because of that, because he was powerful because of what he believed in. And I think, no shade or any other character, but it's easy to be brave when you're indestructible or you can fly. You got a device that can do anything, and it's hard. I mean, you often see, if you're a comic book fan, you'll see splash pages or posters of the Avengers rushing into battle. And there's, Thor and Iron Man and the Hulk and Wonder Man and the Vision, the Scarlet Witch, people with all these powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal man. And in the front is Captain America, whose deal is he's got a really tough shield and he just won't quit. Yeah, that struck me. I mean, he's just the guy. And for a long time, Captain America was the guy. And, I like that. So, as years have passed, I started off buying it. I wish I had the original action figure I had from Mego. It was terrible. He had these big giant mittens that's supposed to be gloves, but man, I wish I had it. But over the years, I found figures, and then it became a point of, I just like this dude, so I'm gonna buy him. And I don't play with him or anything. They do what they do. Um, that's where I am with this guy. I just think he's a great character. And I thought when Chris Evans did it, he embodied the character. And his response to why he think about Captain America and his patriotism, whatever, I thought it was spot on. I mean, I understand that Chris Evans, and he said the things that upset some people. I think Captain America is a patriot, but he's a patriot because he believes in the dream. He doesn't believe in the government necessarily, but he believes in what we should be and what we could be. And if that's not a hero, what is?